Welcome to the K20 Center's Zoom Into Your Career video series. These online career expos give students a way to explore many interesting careers and learn about their career options from volunteer professionals. Dr. Mady Ohs is an OB-GYN, a doctor who specializes in women's health. Dr. Ohs is passionate about taking care of pregnant women and delivering babies, and she also performs surgeries at the hospital and sees patients in her office.
So, like Alex said, I'm an obstetrician gynecologist, or an OB-GYN, and I work right now in Norman, Oklahoma. So I'm a medical doctor that takes care of women and girls with their health. So that means I deliver babies over at the hospital. I go to the hospital to do surgeries to help women. Today I'm at my office, in my office room. And in my office, I see patients and try to help women be as healthy as possible and help them feel better. To become an OB-GYN like myself, or to become a doctor, you first want to go to college, which is 4 years. Then after college or during college, you'll apply to medical school and have to take some big tests to be able to do that. Medical school is 4 years. And then after you graduate from medical school, you complete a residency. And what a residency is it's extra training, taking care of patients in the field that you're really interested in. So for me, I did that residency in obstetrics and gynecology, but you can also do residencies in things like pediatrics if you really like kids, or family medicine, dermatology as a skin doctor. There's eye doctors, which is called an ophthalmologist. So there's all different fields, and during medical school you get the opportunity to learn about all those different specialties to figure out what kind of doctor you want to be. I heard a common question that is asked is, how much do we make? That depends on what kind of doctor you are. The more specialized you are, generally the more money that you make. Also, where you work in the country can affect your salary too. I looked up this morning what the average amount that a doctor makes, and when we average across all the specialties, the average that they reported was $299,000 a year, but it could be more than that if you're more specialized, or also could be less than that depending what area you're in. I encourage anybody to really consider a career in healthcare, whether that be a doctor, a nurse, someone that works in the hospital. If you really like science and you want to help people, then a career in medicine or in healthcare is great for you. Next, I can show you around our office a little bit. So this is my personal office. You can see my diplomas up here. There's a picture of my family. I have my own computer, and we will walk us around. Let me see if I can flip the door around here. Okay. Okay. So here's where the patients will check out. They'll come in and we get everybody's weight and blood pressure. We have all different exam rooms, which all have a computer in them and different information. One of the things I talk to women a lot about is pregnancy planning. And so I have different models that I use to teach them about their bodies and all different types of birth control options. This is a blood pressure cuff. So every time that someone comes to the doctor, my nurse gets their blood pressure for them. We'll walk to the end of the office here. And can have you say hi. These are all my nurses that help me take care of our patients. I couldn't do my job without them. And then the last thing I want to show you is pretty cool. It's our ultrasound machine. So you can use ultrasounds for lots of different things. But of course, in pregnancy, we do ultrasounds on babies, or if a woman's having a problem and we need to look inside her belly, we can use ultrasound for that to see all of her anatomy on the inside. There's also even a career, if you're interested, where we have ultrasonographers, and their job is just to be really good at ultrasound, and that's what they do every single day. So I actually have an ultrasonographer that comes to my office every Wednesday. And then we've got a big TV up here as well, so patients can see if they're pregnant, they can see the pregnancy up there, or they can see their anatomy if they're not pregnant, but need to look inside their belly for some reason. And this is that exam bed here. One last thing we'll show you, we also have a procedure room, and that's this space. So I'm going to flip myself back around and would love to answer all of your questions.
All right, guys, thank you so much it's nice to have a tour. We haven't really had a tour on one of our Zoom sessions before, so that's kind of a neat thing that our classes haven't been able to see. So
Cool.
Schools, if you have questions that you would like to ask Dr. Ohs, what you will do is type in the chat box, and you will either type your question and I will ask it for you, or if you have a question that you would like to ask yourself, then you will just type this school or this classroom has a question, and then we will go to your classroom and you can unmute yourself and ask that into the camera to Dr. Ohs yourself. So if anyone has any questions, go ahead and send those in now. I think I have a question just to get us kicked off, if that sounds okay.
Yeah, that sounds
okay,
great.
So one of my questions is when you go in for like a delivery for a patient, is that usually something that is do you have them always scheduled? Is that something that comes up as a surprise? How do you handle that when you're not like in the office, or when you are in the office and have other patients?
Yeah, so sometimes it just depends on the pregnancy, and that's something that we talk about during the whole pregnancy. During a pregnancy, a woman will have visits with me at least every month, and then towards the end, we see each other every 2 weeks and then every week. So the delivery plan is something we discuss at every visit. Sometimes women will be scheduled for their delivery, and sometimes they'll go into delivery or go in to deliver on their own. So if their water breaks or they have contractions, they'll go to the hospital, and that can happen at any time of day. So sometimes we have to go in the middle of the night to deliver a baby, sometimes in the middle of the afternoon. Our hospital is just across the street from my office here, so sometimes in the middle of the day I'll run over there, or I'll have to come in from home to take care of my patients and they deliver a baby. So it can be really hard work, but it's also super rewarding.
Awesome. Okay, you guys keep thinking about a question you might have. I'll ask you one more. So you don't just deliver babies, we know that, but what other surgical skills do you use whenever you have other types of things that you do with patients?
So one of the most major surgeries I do is something called a hysterectomy, and that's where we do a surgery to remove the uterus. So that's the organ in the body where a baby would grow, but sometimes that can cause problems for women, and for different reasons we need to remove it. So that's a big surgery that I do. Other surgeries that I do is starting at age 21, we recommend getting pap smears, which is an exam where we then check for cervical cancer, or really pre-cancer. And sometimes if there are any things abnormal, we need to do a surgery to follow up on that. So lots of different kinds of surgeries. We also do surgeries if women are having problems with really heavy bleeding and periods. There's other surgeries we can do for that too.
Awesome. Okay, so what do you like to do in your free time with your family? I will ask you that, since you spend a lot of time, I'm sure, with your patients, but you also have that time away from the office.
Yeah, so I have a 2-year-old son, and so we love to play outside. One of my favorite things is going to the zoo or going on walks. And he has some friends, so we like to play with other little kids. So that's pretty much what I do, is my work and then my family.
What was your hardest class that you took when you were in school to become a doctor?
I think every subject is challenging in its own way. For example, even doing like English classes can be hard because a lot of times you have to write long papers and that can be challenging. One of the classes that you do in medical school, and you may even have opportunities to do in high school and then in college, is anatomy. Anatomy is where you learn all the different parts of the body. So you have to know every name of the bone, every muscle, every organ, and how they all work. And so that can be really challenging because it's a lot of information that you have to memorize and keep in your brain for a long time.
Those are really good pieces of information. I think that would be hard to learn so much about the human body, but you definitely have to be an expert to do what you do. So we do have a question from class. They want to know, again, where you went to medical school.
Great question. So I did college at University of Oklahoma in Norman, where I live now. And then for medical school, I went to University of Oklahoma Medical School, which is in Oklahoma City. And then for my obstetrician and gynecology training, I went to Cincinnati, Ohio. I was born in Ohio and I have some family there. And so I went there for 4 years and then came back here to work.
Great question. Okay, here's another one. This is an interesting question that I'm curious about as well. Can you deliver your own baby?
You potentially could, but it's definitely recommended to have a baby in the hospital. Most of the time, everything is healthy and goes normally, but sometimes things can go wrong. And so that's why it's recommended to have your baby in the hospital. If somebody has a normal vaginal delivery, a lot of times we'll put the baby on the mom's chest so that she can hold baby right away.
Mady, is there anything else you can think of that you'd like to add? You've covered so much good information. It's a lot to take in. So I just wanted to check with you one last time before we kind of wrap up our session.
Yeah, well, definitely if you guys think of questions later, I'm happy to be here for you. I absolutely love my job. It is hard work to be able to get here, but it was totally worth it. Don't be intimidated by all of the school that you have to go through. You have to do something with your time either way, and it's definitely worth it. Being able to help people is really awesome, and bring babies into the world is also really amazing. So if you have any interest in that, I'd love to be here to answer your questions.
Awesome. Okay, we did have one final question.
Good.
So they were wanting to know about having like multiple babies at the same time.
Like if somebody has twins or triplets
or quadruplets, or what have you seen in terms of like multiple babies for a single pregnancy?
Yeah, so definitely any pregnancy that has multiples is higher risk. So we have to follow those moms and babies really closely because they're higher risk of babies being born too early or the mom's water breaking early. And with every extra baby you have, more things can go wrong. With having twins, a mom could still have a vaginal delivery. A lot of times if you have multiple babies, though, you may need a C-section to deliver those babies.
Oh, here we go. Was this your dream job? So when you were growing up, was this like the thing you wanted to do?
That question is amazing. I love it. So I didn't know when I was younger, when I was in middle school, I didn't know that this was what I wanted to do. Nobody in my family was a doctor or in healthcare, but I was really interested in science and I really liked my science classes. So I wanted to pick a job that was involved in science. And it was also something that, since my parents didn't do that, I felt like I was doing something different. I almost didn't become a doctor because I didn't think I was smart enough. And my grandpa, he passed away now, but he would always tell me, "Are you sure you don't want to be a doctor? You can do it. You can do it." And so I eventually ended up trying, but it definitely was my dream job. I was always really interested in our anatomy and how a baby can grow inside you, and was really fascinated by that. And so you just got to keep believing in yourself, do really good in school, and you can do it.
That's really great advice. I think it's awesome that you had somebody that was there in your corner, like helping you get through and push you in the way of like following your dreams. So I think that's really
Yep.
awesome.
But
Good
another person that really helped me was my biology teacher in high school. So she really believed in me and helped me learn how much I loved that class.